Hey everyone, this is Per and Hannes from Sabaton, and you are watching DaBelly. God damn it.
Good evening, everybody. This is Dave from DaBelly, and tonight we're at the Van Buren in downtown Phoenix. We're going to speak to Per and Hannes from Sabaton. Welcome back to Phoenix.
Thank you very much.
It's good to be back.
It's been a little while since you visited us. You have a new album out. Let's talk a little about it, The Great War. Talk about putting the record together, picking the songs, and so on.
I guess songwriting for this one started maybe... of course, there's always some kind of songwriting going on, but last summer was when we decided to go for this album, this topic, and that's pretty much when we started the proper songwriting to finalize the ideas to make it. And then I guess it took somewhere between 6 months maybe to finalize the album.
Yeah, and as fast as we get into the studio, things are moving quite rapidly. Everybody's well prepared. Everybody's super excited to get some new songs recorded. So yeah, super smooth recording, and I think it turned out to be a really good album actually. And now we're finally touring it, which is even more fun. Studio is one thing, but this is what we like to do. So it's great to be back here with a new show. The tank is here, and we have all kinds of cool surprises for the people coming out to this tour.
Yeah, they're excited to have you here in Phoenix. It's like I said, it's been a little while. Out with a great set tonight. You're with Hammerfall. Talk about the pairing of two bands going on the road together and kind of the synergy and the fans that the fan base has created between the two bands and so on.
Okay, well, first of all, we run way back with Hammerfall, and thanks to Hammerfall, we are a band. Pretty much that's what it was. Before Hammerfall, there was only black and death metal happening in Sweden, and then they came along to brought back some melodic heavy metal to Sweden. So they are very important for the beginning of Sabaton, and we toured and played together many times in the past. But for this tour, so the idea here it spawned out of us being in New York City a couple of years ago, and we parked our tour bus next to a Swedish pop artist, and all of the Swedish magazine were like, wow, Sweden is taking over US, the new pop stars are taking over US. And this girl, she was playing in a small tiny club, not even in downtown New York. She was playing somewhere outside in a small club, not sold out, while we were having our signs sold out in Times Square, New York City, in a big theater. And nobody cared about that because, heavy metal is not supposed to be in the cool magazines and stuff. And then we wanted to show the people that, okay, Swedish heavy metal is a good export for Sweden. We can go and do big shows. And so we put together a package of two great bands from Sweden playing heavy metal.
As you said, two great bands, exactly. Sweden has really made its mark as far as importing music into America with heavy metal. There seems to be no shortage of bands coming from the area, and the energy that you've created as the population of bands is remarkable, and we're always happy to see when you come to town. You just had a 20th anniversary show, or should I say Sabaton, just had their 20th anniversary show. Talk a little bit about that. It was a big, big event.
Yeah, Sabaton has been around since 1999, even though a lot of people in America seem to think that we are a newly founded band or whatever, but we have been around for quite some time. So it's 20 years now as a band, and some people were asking us, like, what do we do, like re-release your old albums or whatever, tour on old songs. We didn't find that was interesting. So we did one show where we didn't really think about what was, it was just one Sabaton. We brought back a lot of old band members. We did two stages, a massive at the biggest heavy metal festival in the world, where we were the headliner and took both main stages at the same time and played with basically two setups of the band. And we did it because we wanted to show the people, like, right now there's just, we freeze a moment in time for the 20 years anniversary and looking backwards and forward, and we are in the present as well at the same time.
That was such a great opportunity for the fans when you brought back some of the former members to celebrate the 20 years together. That must have been remarkable, kind of touching base with these players yet again after all these years.
Sure, and not everybody has ever met or hanged out before, but it was so easy. Once we started to rehearse, everything was fine.
Yeah, exactly. And the band has a long history, both before and after and coming. So it's super, inspirational to get together so many musicians in one room. It's like it's made for technical problems, which didn't happen. So we made sure we rehearsed long before. Everybody was once again super excited to be there. It's basically everybody's dream to play. That's not only that stage, but both stages, and as a main headliner on Wacken. So it was kind of an easy but huge project, thanks to the involvement of everybody. And it turned out really cool.
So just prior to the release of The Great War, you put out a single called Bismarck, of course. And the video itself, going out on the boat on the oceans and playing, that must have been quite a challenge to get the band onto the boat and get as much functioning as possible, of course, out in the weather and everything else. Talk a little bit about putting that video together.
Well, especially when Bismarck is shooting at us.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't help, Well, we recorded that video in Turkey. We spent a few days there, and in Belarus, actually. Or a few more places, actually. Yeah.
It was also recorded partly in England as well. So,
So another huge project coming together with our cooperation with Wargaming. A standalone single that needed a proper fucking video, and it really came out to be a good-looking video that really represents the song in the best way possible.
Completely agreed. It is a great-looking video, and I think it really does kind of tell us the story of the song itself, and kind of really augments the history and so on.
it is always very difficult to tell a story when you only have a few minutes, but so it was a huge effort to see what kind of parts we could include in the song, and it was a big project to do, but I think everybody involved is very happy with the outcome.
So speaking of history, you've got the Sabaton History Channel, basically. It seems to me, my perception is that you're adding context to the music you're putting out. Not everybody understands the background of all the songs that you're doing, and it seemed like it's an opportunity for you to kind of give that background, to tell a little bit more of the story. Talk about putting that all together.
So a long time ago, when we started to write songs about military history, we started to add some liner notes to the booklets of the albums. And people appreciated that because it gave them a little bit of background what the song is all about. These days, few people read the booklets of albums, unfortunately. So we found a more attractive way to tell history, and we took it a couple of levels higher. We always wanted to have this as a kind of also another level of Sabaton, to be able to properly educate people. But in the past, we could only, with the songs, with the music itself, we cannot educate people at all. We can inspire people, and then they have to go educate themselves, because what you learn with a few words that we have in the lyrics in a 3-minute song is not going to be sufficient that you can actually make some kind of history knowledge about it. You can get some ideas, and it can drive you to look for more information about it. But thanks to the Sabaton History Channel that we launched on February this year, then we can now properly educate people, and that's a new level of Sabaton.
That's excellent to hear, because, as you know, your songs, the Red Baron, most people understand when they hear the words the Red Baron, they have an idea what it's about. They don't necessarily know the background of it. But some of the other stories you tell in your songs are a little more obscure, at least to the Americans. And so I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to reach out and tell that story. It's important.
We have a very good feedback from the people who watch it, and we have an ever-growing audience. And somehow it feels great that we have created a sort of a long-living, a legacy, even if, 10, 15 years from now on, people can use this as a reference for learning history. And that feels pretty damn good.
I think it's really neat also, that there is that option if you want to. If you really want to dig deeper, there you go. Then you can spend hours in there, which I think for a lot of our fans, or people in general, maybe people are not super interested in the music per se, but super interested in the history, then it's a really good way to learn and dig deeper into the whole subject.
So across 9 albums, you've written many, many songs. You've covered perspectives from both sides of wars, history, a long, many, many years of history. Have you ever had the opportunity to reach out to some of the units that you've written about and actually meet up with them? Some of them are still in existence, some aren't.
Plenty of them, actually, from all around the world.
Yeah.
So, units, veterans, we have met with children, grandchildren, descendants, and even living people. So, who have been there themselves. So we have a lot of those stories, and that makes sometimes our music mean a little bit more.
I would agree. I can understand why it would. It'd be important for somebody who'd been in a place in a point of time that maybe they feel is a little bit forgotten, and somebody it's not.
There are also those who claim that we are doing this just to whatever we are profiting out of that or whatever. I just feel very comfortable when we are basically backed by everybody that we ever sing about, and when they approve it completely. And what we are doing is nothing else than some people are writing a history book, some people are starting a history university, or some people start a museum. Basically, it's the same way. We all keep the legacy alive of people who have been serving in war, and we do it in different ways. And some people might find the Sabaton way of storytelling more attractive than a book. And some person might find going to a museum way more educational than listening to a heavy metal song or listening to or watching our YouTube channel. So, but with whichever thing, we are basically sitting in the same boat as those people who, by their means, trying to preserve history.
I completely understand what you're saying. I'm a veteran as well, and I salute the fact that you guys are telling the stories. It's very important, I think. So I read that there was a couple of older songs that crept onto this album that were not formally in part of the writing process. One would be Attack of the Dead Men, the other The Ghost of the Trenches. They were pre-existing songs. Talk a little bit about some of the songs you write, and they take a little time for them to kind of grow and eventually make it onto the record.
Well, for the Attack of the Dead Men, it wasn't like the whole song didn't already exist, but parts of it and ideas. And sometimes when you write, it needs to marinate, you know? Yes. You don't want to throw anything on there that, we wouldn't throw a song on there that everybody's not 100% comfortable with. Then it would never end up on the album. But there might be ideas from years back. It's like, yeah, that's a cool bridge, or that's a cool chorus, but we never managed to make the verse exactly what the song deserved. So it's as simple as that, when the writing process starts firing up on all machine cylinders. Yeah, I had this idea there, and I have this lying here, and this is a verse. Let's see if we can puzzle it together. And sometimes those songs come alive fully and get exactly what they deserve. To fit the theme that they are having, and that's another level of it, right? If you're going to sing about the Attack of the Dead Men, you got to have the right vibe to the song. It's super important. Otherwise, you spoil the whole theme and possibly a good song.
Completely agreed. Last question I got is about touring. We're coming to the end here of 2019. What do you guys have on tap for 2020?
Well, we have a lot in the pipeline.
I suspect, yes.
We will start the year off with our European tour, together with Apocalyptica, and give me a second. Amaranth. Sorry, I almost said the wrong band there. Apocalyptica and Amaranth. And after that, we will go to Russia for quite some 17 dates in Russia. And we can... Yeah, that's what we have for the first part of the year. Mm-hmm. And that's quite a few shows.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's already a lot.
So
there will be more coming.
Okay, so I suspect then you will be making it back to America at some point next year? North America?
We will be back in North America at some point, for sure.
Sooner
it's
or
like
later.
A politician answer.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, of course we'll come back. When? That's another question, but as soon as we can.
Well, that's all I've got. Thank you much. Is there anything I missed? Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, we are super happy to be here. Thank you to all that's been coming out so far. There's a bunch of shows coming up, and we can't wait to bring the great tour to everywhere in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thinking